Hey everyone, Andrew back again and welcome to another video. Today I'm back with another movie update, all horror titles except for one and all Blu-ray titles. But before I get into the update, I'm quickly wanting to show you some merchandise that I recently came across on eBay. So here you go, some horror related merchandise that are not figures. We have a couple of mouse pads, so we have the Michael Myers Halloween mouse pad, which is awesome, and the Evil Dead 2 mouse pad, which is pretty awesome also, both from the same seller. And the seller also threw in this little freebie. It's a Billy the Puppet magnet from Saw, so really happy with those items and glad to have picked them up. Alrighty, so let's get on to this update. So we're going to start with the one and only non-horror title first. Alright, so first up, obviously the non-horror title and the new release, which is Star Wars Rogue One. Never got a chance to see this in theatres, but I wasn't really too worried because I knew I'd be picking it up on Blu-ray. And obviously this thing has been getting a lot of hype. Pretty much every Star Wars fan absolutely loves it. I'm a Star Wars fan, but I've got to say this really wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be. I wouldn't say it was a disappointment, but I just felt a lot of the movie dragged, and in a lot of aspects it really just did not feel like a true Star Wars film to me. It wasn't really until the last half an hour where things really got epic with all the battles and stuff that it really felt like a true Star Wars film to me. So I don't know, it wasn't a bad movie by any means, it was still a really good film, but yeah, I certainly have my issues with it, and it's nowhere near close to being one of my favourite Star Wars films. Next up we have The Green Inferno, and I'm really late to the party on this one, but finally glad to own it. I haven't had a chance to watch this yet, but the next three films I picked up for really cheap, and they were just titles that I've been wanting to get around to checking out, and this was one of them, so yeah, that is The Green Inferno. And the next film that I got for cheap along with The Green Inferno is Tremors 5 Bloodlines. Big Tremors fan, especially the original film, which is a classic, so looking forward to checking this one out. I'm expecting to have quite a bit of fun with this one. I'm not really too sure the opinions of people when it comes to this film, so if you've seen it, let me know. But I'm not expecting it to be as good as the original film, but I'm sure it's still going to be pretty good. And finally got around to picking up The Editor. Really late to the party on this one. Glad to find a copy with the slipcover, which is pretty cool. The artwork on this is absolutely amazing. I've heard this is fantastic, a nice throwback to the Argento style Giallo films, so really looking forward to checking this one out, and I'll definitely be watching it very soon. Next up we have Beautiful People, which is a pretty interesting take on the home invasion genre. It was pretty full on, it was really brutal, and in some parts it was kind of hard to watch. So yeah, a pretty full on film for a home invasion film. But yeah, this was really good. Basically it was about three thugs who invaded a family home. The father was a scientist working on reanimating corpses for his experiments and for his job. So it was sort of all based on the home invasion, kind of mixed with zombie themes, I guess you'd say. It was really good. As I said, it was pretty nasty. There was some nice gore effects throughout. The only issue that I had with it is I kind of wish that instead of having the reanimated zombies attacking the people, I would have much rather it been more of a creature feature, like it said on the back of the case and in the synopsis, where they were actual monster-like creatures. I think that would have been a lot better than the reanimated corpse idea. But still, that's only a minor issue that I have with the film. Overall, I thought it was a really good take on the home invasion genre, and I would definitely recommend it. Next up, we have Tormented, which I think is also known as Berkshire County, and this is another home invasion film. And like Beautiful People, it sort of mixes genres together, so first and foremost, it is a home invasion film, and it's also got slasher elements. involved with it as well. Very basic and simple, but it was a solid movie. I enjoyed it, and it was pretty creepy in parts and really effective. I think the acting overall was pretty solid for the type of movie that it was, and yeah, it was good. So this one was about a self-loathing, bullied female teenager who goes to this estate basically in the middle of nowhere to look after a couple of kids on Halloween. I kind of thought they could have maybe done the Halloween vibe a lot more. It didn't really feel like Halloween whatsoever, which was probably the biggest disappointment that I had with this film, actually. But other than that, it was really, really good. And then, of course, 3 intruders, including a young little boy, basically invade the home, and yeah, it basically plays out like a traditional home invasion film from there. As I said, very simple and basic in its premise, but it did work, and I thought it was a really, really solid film. Next up, we have Digging Up the Marrow, and this is another one that I'm extremely late to the party with, but I came across this and the last movie that I'll show off of eBay for a pretty cheap price, so I decided to finally get around to picking it up and checking it out. I didn't really care for this movie too much whatsoever, to be honest. I know a lot of people really, really enjoy this film, but it just really wasn't for me. It wasn't really anything like what I was expecting it to be. Yeah, and I don't know, I just sort of found it kind of boring in parts, not really that interesting. Definitely my least favourite Adam Green movie that I have seen by far. But you know, I've checked it out, and yeah, unfortunately didn't really care for it. Last up we have Body Bags, and this was the other one that I got on eBay along with Digging Up the Marrow. Really, really ecstatic to get this, especially with the slipcover. This is a fairly oldish Scream Factory release, and it's one that I never got around to picking up when it first came out, obviously, and I'd never actually seen this film before. But I've got to say, this was absolutely amazing, and definitely the movie of this update for me. I friggin' loved it. 3 stories in this, so not as many stories as some other anthologies, but I definitely think it worked in its favour, because obviously having 3 stories, they were slightly longer. I enjoyed all the stories. I thought they were really, really well done, and I thought they were the perfect length. My favourite was probably the last one, The Eye. I thought that was really, really good. And my second favourite was the first one, The Gas Station, where the serial killer was targeting the woman that just got the job at the gas station. That one obviously had a lot of little nods to Halloween, which was pretty awesome. And I really, really enjoyed sort of the wraparound character and sort of story they had in between each of the stories with the coroner, which was of course John Carpenter. He looked awesome, and he played the coroner really, really well. Yeah, this is by far one of the best anthologies that I've ever seen, and it's definitely one of my all-time favourites now. I was pretty surprised that I loved it as much as I did. And it's one that I'd never really heard too many people ever really seem to talk about, so I didn't really have too much expectations going into this one. But yeah, this was amazing. So if you're a fan of horror anthologies and you've never seen Body Bags, do yourself a favour and check it out, because it is brilliant. Yeah, just I cannot fault this movie whatsoever. Everything about it was awesome. And this is a pretty solid release from Scream Factory. I absolutely love the custom artwork. It definitely suits the movie extremely well, and it's actually one of my favourite artworks from Scream right now. Anyway, that's enough on that. So that is Body Bags. Alrighty, so that does it for yet another movie update. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of the movies in the comments section below, and thank you for watching.